All right, we are live. Let me go ahead and get this thing published here up on YouTube, on Facebook. All right. So anyway, we're live here. Good morning. This is Greg Loria, 8K Social Greg on Twitter for the Nerd Stalker Media Network. Welcome to another Nerd Stalker Up Close podcast. We'll be using the Samsung Go Mic Connect to do this week's podcast, which is a little bit different than I normally use. So you guys could let me know in the comments how the clarity of the mic is. Cheryl, who's our guest there, already said it's pretty good. So anyway, speaking of Cheryl, it's pleased to talk with Cheryl Robinson, a startup entrepreneur and contributor to a new column called Professor C's Kick-Ass Hacks in Entrepreneurship. That's a great title, you know. So we've been collaborating about this for a little while, actually, and it kind of manifested itself into this column that she's going to be writing on a regular basis for us. So anyway, good morning, Cheryl. Thanks for joining us here on Nerd Stalker Live from New York, right?
Yes. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Good, good. How's the weather in New York?
It is humid, muggy, and gross.
Well, here in San Francisco, the air is moist, but it isn't. It's fog. It's called fog. So we're kind of the same but opposite. So we're probably 40 degrees lower than you are right now. Oh man, but anyway, yeah. Thank you for joining us today. I'm excited about this new column that you're writing for us. And so anyway, can you talk about maybe some of the desire to write about your kind of like first year or freshman founder experiences?
Sure. And first, I just want to say thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be doing this new column series. So I always had the entrepreneurial mindset. And let's make the LLC. I'm at the point in my life where I've had enough experience and I just went for it. And I learned so much within that first year. And I feel that other entrepreneurs that I run into, that first year is the toughest for them. And some of them just, they quit. They don't know how to move forward. So I always encourage them, say, keep going. And I feel that if you could get through your first year and learn from that first year and apply the lessons to year 2, 3, and beyond, you're going to be successful. So I just wanted to help others get through year 1 and learn from, the lessons I've learned and how I got through them.
No, it's great. I think you're extending that work that you do at the university into real life, right? So helping other people. So it's a great thing. Wow. So anyway, let's talk about these entrepreneurial, what you call hacks, which is really kind of things that you kind of realize as reflecting back and seeing how certain things or events unfolded that kind of helped you gain maybe through pain and torture maybe at times. But yeah, that's pretty true. We all go through that. But yeah, let's talk about the first one, where you talk about starting 2 LLCs in 1 year. What was the lesson there?
Oh man. So after working for a startup, that's when I decided it was time to do my own LLC, right? Like, I have what it takes. Let's just make my dreams come true. And within that first year, or, that first LLC, I was networking a lot. So I met a group of people and we decided, hey, let's partner up together. So now I had 2 LLCs in teaching. I'm in a doctorate program and running these 2 companies. I did not realize how much energy and time commitment that would take. And I'm great at time management, but with those 2, like when you have 2 LLCs and it's your first year of being out on your own, there's no way you can manage that. And you have to choose, do I want to focus on this LLC today or that LLC? And sometimes you have to focus on both at the same time. And it sounds cool. People are like, wow, you have 2 LLCs, and they think you're Superwoman. But inside you're like, oh my God, how am I going to make this work today? And it's just first understand how business works. Get one LLC up and going. Then once you establish that, then start your other LLC. Like, I'm not here to tell you don't have multiple companies, but if it's your first year, it's very difficult to do 2 LLCs. I did that within 6 months of each other. So I was still, you know what I mean? I was still learning the ropes. And yeah, so I highly advise people to steer away from opening 2 LLCs in their first year.
Well, you know, I think it's just human nature, right? Because I think that if you feel you're passionate about 2 different ideas, you want to get started in it right away, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so I think that's kind of just, you know, I guess we have to resist that type of human nature and focus.
I find as an entrepreneur, everything sounds exciting. Everything is an opportunity, is a possibility. And I had a really good conversation with a good friend, and she said, honey, you're spreading yourself way too thin. At one point with these 2 LLCs on top of teaching and my doctorate, I had 6 projects going. It's not humanly possible to be able to handle that amount of workload. So she said, you really have to focus. And as an entrepreneur, it's hard to learn how to say no. Because again, it goes back to everything is a possibility. Oh, well, if I do this, then that could be the next big break. But focusing, you're never going to know the potential that your, company has.
Yeah.
And
no.
you know your potential either. So I really had to learn how to say no and tell people, I can't work on your project right now.
Yeah, no, thank you. That letting go is tough for a lot of people. Something, at least for temporarily. You know, temporarily, you're saying temporary letting go, not totally letting go of something.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So let's talk about the next hack. You said stay true to the vision and rules you created for yourself at the beginning of your new adventure. So what happened to kind of inspire that thought?
So before I started my LLC, I was partners with someone, and it was going great for a while, but then they lost focus, and it was a bad business divorce. And I said to myself after that, I will not partner with anyone that I don't know for at least a year, because within that year, you learn how they work, operate, can lead a team. And I wanted my LLC to be big, right? I wanted it to succeed. And when you partner with the wrong people, that's when it goes down. So when I met these partners, I put that aside, and I only knew these partners for like a month. And I did not listen to myself. Like, the biggest lesson is you have to listen to yourself, because what you feel, it's protecting you and it's help guiding you. And starting the LLC, again, I had those rules. I said X, Y, and Z. And when I met these new partners, I put X, Y, and Z to the side. And by not listening to myself, it caused me more problems later on.
So there was this gut feel telling you that, like, should I wait on this a little bit, or what was kind of these internal things going through your head? When
it was like, hey, remember what happened with the last one? Because with the last partner, I only knew him for about 2 months before we decided to move forward with our project. And this, it was like, you don't know if what they're saying is true. Because within a month, you don't have time to really do due diligence. And I never worked on a project with them. I was all taking it at face value. And that feeling when we decided to start the LLC, I was excited because I trust a lot, and I trusted them. I trusted what they were saying. But there was also that other feeling. And if you're not 100%, if you don't feel peace with it, don't do it. That And again, that comes from my experience.
Yeah, no, that's great to share that, because I think that I'm sure like New York, like San Francisco, there's all these opportunities to network with people and get to meet people initially, right, which have great ideas or like to collaborate with you, and it's so easy to kind of get sucked into that, right?
Oh, 100%. And people can tell you, because now people, we're in the age of you have to be great. You have to have this type of persona, and you buy into that. And I've learned to do your due diligence, work on a project, but not partner up together first to see how they operate before forming that LLC, before forming that startup.
I see. I see. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's almost like, yeah, focusing your sights on the end goal, not the immediate thing in front of you, almost. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit here now, which is your next hack, which is focus. It's not only about focus, but I felt when I was reading your column, it was about energy as well. And if you're just joining us, everyone, this is we call her Professor C. It's Cheryl Robinson, and she's sharing her hacks on her first year of being an entrepreneur. And so this next subject we're going to talk about is, you talk about always keep your projects front and center. So what was the lesson there?
So again, I said I was working on like 6 different projects at once, and 2 of them were mine, 4 of them were for other people. And I think I put in there the 80-20 energy rule, right? Like put 80% of your time and energy into your projects and then 20% into other people's, because I was flip-flopping, because again, everything was a possibility. And if you buy into the people's stories and their visions and you trust them, you feel, well, okay, this could be the next big thing, so let me be a part of that. But if they're not dedicated, which in some cases I was the driving force, and I said, wait a minute, this is your project, not my project. And my projects just kept getting put to the back burner. So I was dedicating time and energy to dead ends, where if I had dedicated all that time and energy to my projects, my projects might have turned out differently. So now my projects turned out great, because eventually after I had that talk with a friend, I let go of the other projects. And then I just focused solely on my projects. But I wish I had dedicated that 80% versus the 20% to my projects.
It's interesting.
So it went, yeah.
No, it's
it went to be my writing. So now I'm back in the game.
Yeah, no, when I was reading that part, well, you always kind of like, when you read things, you always reflect about yourself, or you should. and when I was thinking about, that 80-20 rule, which was really kind of, I thought, kind of just very, very reflecting, almost meditating. When I thought about it while I was riding downtown on my bus the other day, it was kind of like, thought about, there's a lot of projects that I like to collaborate on, but I feel at times, what you were just saying, that I feel more excited about the project than the actual person who originated it.
Right.
And so, yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if anyone listening has seen the documentary on Warren Buffett that HBO put out a couple months ago, but after watching that, what really stuck out to me was his story about the first time he met Bill Gates. And Bill Gates' father was there, and he said to the both of them, I want you to write down on a piece of paper what you feel has, brought you to successful. Like, what was the driving force of your success? And separately, they did not see each other's answers. They wrote down what it was. And when Bill Gates' father opened up the pieces, both wrote the same exact word, which was focus. And that really hit home for me, because if I'm not focusing on my projects, no one else is. because they're not driven by the passion and the motivation that I am to produce them. So if I'm not focusing on them, why should anyone else care? And that's now really the practice I've been doing is focus. Pick the one thing, focus, make it work, and then move on to the next one and keep going. So, yeah, I just want to share that story with everyone.
No, and in your case, it's obviously I feel the writing is your focus now.
Yeah, big time.
Oh wow. Okay, well let's talk about the last hack, which is kind of neat, which is kind of related to kind of your first story a little bit, but a little bit more in depth. Not all companies have to have an LLC before starting, so yeah, talk about that a little bit, please.
Okay, so one of the projects that I was working on, with these newfound partners, was a conference, and which entitled sponsorship. And we all had our own LLCs. So the conference itself could have fallen under any one of our LLCs. And then once we got the first sponsorship check, then we could have created the LLC, right? And we did not do that. We created the LLC first. And in New York, it's a lot more expensive than other states to create the LLC. And my personal viewpoint was we wasted money on that area in the beginning that didn't need to be there from day one. So I'm not, yes, we would have had an LLC, but we didn't need to spend that initial money up front where we could have used that initial money to go towards something else to grow out the conference.
So can I ask you a question about that? So was it like, because I go through this a lot, is it that like the idea wasn't fully developed to warrant the LLC, or?
Oh, I'm sorry, you cut out. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, was the idea there that the idea wasn't developed enough to warrant developing the LLC, or what was the idea there?
The idea was fully developed. We were moving forward. The LLC basically, protects you in case if anything happens, and it makes it official. So for sponsors, for ticket sales, that would all go towards the LLC. And it doesn't look like one person is just doing this to collect the money. But say we had, I'm just going to use company ABC. If we did not create the LLC, we could say to company ABC, out to this our company XYZ, then as soon as that check came in, then we could cash it, open up the bank account, open up the LLC, and the money would already be there. But if, say, zero sponsorship money came in, one of us under our LLCs could have taken that money, or not take the money, but house the conference under it. So it could have been, my publishing company is Ready to Roar. So I could have said company LMNOP is under Ready to Roar. So
yeah. I see.
I know I backtracked a little bit. I hope I just didn't confuse everyone. But
no, I mean, you were coming from the standpoint that each of these founders, I think, had their own companies or LLC, right? So you, in this context, you're talking about creating an LLC that umbrellas everyone who is partnering with you, right?
Exactly.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so you could come up with a.
Yeah, so it wasn't that we weren't going to create the LLC, because the LLC is important to have 100%. We just didn't need it from the get-go. So we could have done it maybe 2 or 3 months into the process versus spending that money in the beginning.
I see. So did you feel, I guess, let me talk to you a little bit more about this. Did you feel that almost creating the LLC up front was just unnecessary expenses? Is that really what was kind of the thing about it?
Yep. Because before the company actually had capital, all the partners were putting in their own money. So why put in your own money from the beginning if you don't have to?
Right. until you got that first check.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, have your company be profitable first, or at least have a sale, and then maybe you could
Exactly.
think
Yes.
about that later. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
great. No, really excited about this new column you're writing for Nerdstalker, and sharing a lot of your, and know I know you have maybe some future announcements to announce as well, but I know you're focusing on your writing, and we've been talking about that offline, and I think it's wonderful. I love reading the column and that you wrote for Nerdstalker, so I really am grateful and appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Yeah, and we're gonna do this every month, everyone. So basically, or every time Cheryl releases a column, at least. So she's gonna write the column, and then Greg's gonna sit on the bus thinking about it. then we're gonna interview her, and then we're going to write the next one. So this is going to be a series, as Cheryl had alluded to, is what's really called Professor C's Kick-Ass Hacks and Entrepreneurship. So stay tuned for many more to come. Anyway, but with your stuff, Cheryl, how can listeners find out more about you?
So you can go to my website, which is crobinson.co. No M, no .com, .co, crobinson.co. And I'm on Twitter at Professor CR. So I would love to connect with you, share tidbits. I would love to hear your stories as well.
That's great. No, thank you. So anyway, we really appreciate it as well, and have a great weekend. So everyone, that was Cheryl Robinson, founder and entrepreneur, and thanks for joining us, everyone. This is Greg Laurie, aka Social Greg on Twitter, for the Nerdstalker Media Network, where we believe in tech, startups, design, and you. So anyway, thanks for joining us out, everyone, and be careful out there this weekend. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
Thank you.